going to round it out by showing you new research, yeah, on how to talk about things and how it tests. So like most conversations about messaging, this one begins with Miracle Whip. It's a story via my amazing activist organizer, rabble-rouser friend Erica Payne, who runs a thing called the Agenda Project. Miracle Whip spends 90 cents of every one of its advertising dollars marketing to the people it calls its super heavy users. These are the people who only buy Miracle Whip, always buy Miracle Whip, can be relied upon to purchase Miracle Whip in perpetuity. Why would you spend 90 cents of your dollar on the people you have? Do you think they're dumb? Do you think they don't know what they're doing? Why would you do that?
Messengers.
That's exactly right. Because what Madison Avenue understands is that they're your brand advocates. So they will, I kid you not, bake a chocolate cake with Miracle Whip, bring it to the family reunion, their friends will taste it and say, this is moist and delicious, what's in it? Would you believe Miracle Whip? That's disgusting, but I'm strangely intrigued. Because if Kraft Foods or Miracle Whip said, you should try Miracle Whip, then you instantly discount that message, obviously, because you're like, of course you're telling me that. Well, the same is true when Planned Parenthood tells you, tweet at this. You're like, right, you're saying that because that's your job to say that. Or the ACLU says, go do this action. Right, you're saying that because that's your job to say that. But when your friend tells you, I'm going to do this thing, or your friend tells you this issue is important, then you see them as a trusted messenger. What we need to understand, as I said earlier, is that the base is the best messenger of the message. And if your words don't spread, your words don't work. The right wing understood this long, long, long ago. A message, as my friend Ryan Clayton would say, is like a baton that needs to be passed from person to person to person without getting dropped. Unless you're functioning in some sort of realm of $5 million Super Bowl ad buys, which we're not, then we need to figure out not just what is a message that our base likes. Our base likes everything we say. That's how they're defined. They are the base because they agree with us. So the fact that they like what we're saying is not an achievement. We need a message that they're willing to repeat to the persuadables. That's the name of the game. Unfortunately, that is not the name of the game in how messages are currently assessed. And in fact, the story that I tell to convey how messages are actually currently assessed comes from Aesop's Fable of Please All, Please None. For those of you who don't know it, the story begins with a father and a son. They're going to go to market with their donkey. They begin the journey with the son atop the donkey. They pass a group of villagers who say, this is elder abuse. So the son gets off, the dad gets on. Next group of villagers, this is child abuse. So the dad and the son get on. Next group of villagers, this is animal abuse. The story ends with them carrying the donkey, all their wares fall into the river, and the moral of the story is please all, please none. But to me, the moral of the story is that the animal in it is a donkey, which of course is the Democratic Party mascot, because this, in fact, could be a parable of Democratic Party messaging. Which is to say, when you look at a sample of 1,000 people or 1,500 people or however many people you're testing with, you say the winning message is the one that gets the highest overall score in the sample, regardless of who is giving it that score. That's how you end up with milquetoast. If that is what you think the task of the message is, that ends you with milquetoast. In fact, that's a fundamental misunderstanding of how people come to political judgments. What a good message actually needs to do is engage the base in order to persuade the middle and actually alienate the opposition. Now, why do you want to alienate the opposition? Again, remember how I'm defining the opposition. I'm defining the opposition as the intractables, the people you cannot, shall not, will not, can never have. It is not the Republicans in the sample. They are Republicans usually, but there's way more Republicans than they are this kind of opposition. These are the people who will never be moved. So why do you want to make sure they're dialing away? Well, if the people who fundamentally disagree with everything you believe are dialing up on your message, what are you saying? You're either saying nothing, you're saying free pie, puppies are cute, something that is not advancing anything, it's just milquetoast, or you're actually reaffirming their argument. And we do this all the time. This is what brought us messaging like safe, legal, and rare. If you're looking for something that everyone in the sample's like, okay, this is what brought us the early loss messaging on marriage equality that was married filing jointly and hospital visitation rights, because that didn't really upset anybody. The base agreed with it, but they wouldn't repeat it. Because no one in the history of the earth has ever been to a wedding ceremony and had the officiant say, I now pronounce you joint filers. People think that marriage is about love, right? I've been married for 15 years. I'm dating myself. I got married shortly out of the womb. And I do not think of my husband as my joint filer. That's not how I think of marriage. So when people are promoting marriage to me as like, we'll have hospital visitation, I'm like, what is this thing they're talking about that does not feel like the thing that I understand? The other reason we want to alienate the opposition, and we saw this in the dial test and message earlier, is it tells us this is the conversation we want to be having because this is where they look like outliers. This is where 85% of Americans are like, sure, that's not that big a deal. And 15% are like, can you? So the right wing has pursued this strategy relentlessly. Do you think there's ever been a Republican pollster who has said to his client, or her, his, it even tests well with the opposition? Do you think that that's a thing they ever say? And yet our pollsters all the time are like, this even tests well with the opposition. My response to that is, who do you work for? Again, our problem, our major problem in not all but most issues is activation. It's not persuasion. And the way that you get activation is that you need your base persuading the middle. Make America Great Again does not work as a slogan if only the campaign is repeating it. It has to be taken up by the base in order for the middle to be hearing it relentlessly. Does that make sense? Because the middle, we know from study, are the people most prone to the toggling. The profile, full face, profile, that's them. Like, they have whiplash. They're much more susceptible to it than the base and the opposition.